Then, the sky caught fire. 66 million years ago, Earth was a completely different world. Welcome to Xfinity Evolution, where history comes alive, and legends are reborn. There were no cities, no roads, no airplanes, and no humans. Instead, enormous dinosaurs ruled the land, giant reptiles dominated the oceans, and massive pterosaurs filled the skies. Forests stretched across continents, rivers cut through ancient landscapes, and life existed on a scale that is almost impossible for us to imagine today. For more than 165 million years, dinosaurs had survived changing climates, volcanic eruptions, predators, competition, and countless environmental disasters. They had become some of the most successful creatures Earth had ever produced. But on one seemingly ordinary day, something was approaching the planet that no dinosaur could see coming. Far above the atmosphere, an asteroid roughly 10 kilometers wide was traveling through space at an incredible speed. It had been moving through the solar system for millions of years, but now its path was heading directly toward Earth. Below it, life continued as usual. Tyrannosaurs searched for prey across ancient plains. Triceratops moved through forests and open landscapes. Herds of plant-eating dinosaurs searched for vegetation, while smaller creatures hid among the trees and rocks. There was no warning system, no way to escape, and no creature on Earth understood what was coming. Then the asteroid entered Earth's atmosphere. It became brighter than the sun, crossing the sky like a massive ball of fire. And then, it hit. The asteroid struck near what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, releasing an unimaginable amount of energy in a matter of seconds. The impact created the enormous Chicxulub crater, more than 150 kilometers wide. The ground violently shook, shockwaves raced across the planet, and enormous tsunamis traveled across ancient oceans. Rocks were vaporized and blasted into the atmosphere, while huge amounts of dust and debris were thrown high above the surface. For anything close to the impact zone, survival was almost impossible. But the most devastating consequences were still coming. The material launched into the atmosphere began spreading around the planet, blocking a significant amount of sunlight. The world became darker. Temperatures dropped. Plants that depended on sunlight began to die, and once the plants started disappearing, the food chain began collapsing from the bottom up. Herbivores struggled to find enough food, and predators soon faced the same problem. Ecosystems that had remained stable for millions of years were suddenly being destroyed. This was not simply one enormous explosion. It was a global environmental disaster that continued long after the asteroid disappeared beneath the Earth's surface. Imagine living in that world. A forest that once provided endless food is slowly becoming empty. The sky is darker than normal. Temperatures are falling. Plants are disappearing, animals are becoming weaker, and there is less food every day. For millions of years, dinosaurs had been perfectly adapted to their environment. But evolution could not prepare them for a catastrophe that changed the environment almost overnight. Some species may have died quickly, while others struggled for weeks, months, or longer as ecosystems collapsed around them. Eventually, around 75% of Earth's species disappeared. And among the greatest victims were the dinosaurs. The creatures that had dominated the planet for more than 160 million years were almost completely gone. The age of the giant dinosaurs was ending. But then came one of the greatest surprises in the history of life. Not every dinosaur disappeared. A small group survived, the ancestors of modern birds. These survivors were probably smaller, more adaptable, and able to take advantage of limited food sources. While enormous dinosaurs vanished from the Earth, these survivors carried the dinosaur lineage into the future. And the world they inherited was completely different. With so many dominant species gone, ecosystems began to reorganize. Mammals, which had lived alongside dinosaurs for millions of years, suddenly had opportunities that had never existed before. They began expanding into new environments and developing new forms. Over millions of years, mammals diversified into an extraordinary variety of species. Eventually, one branch produced primates. Much later, another branch produced us. That means the story of humanity is connected to the extinction of the dinosaurs. If the asteroid had passed Earth by, the future could have been completely different. Dinosaurs might have continued evolving for millions of additional years. Mammals might have remained relatively small. Another intelligent species might have eventually appeared, or perhaps intelligent life would never have developed at all. We simply cannot know. But the asteroid did hit, and one of the greatest turning points in Earth's history had begun. The dinosaurs did not disappear because they were weak. They disappeared because the world around them suddenly became almost unrecognizable. For millions of years, they had controlled the land. Then, in a geological instant, their environment changed. The forests, climate, food chains, and ecosystems they depended on were disrupted. The giants were gone, but life itself continued. Nature began rebuilding. Today, every time we see a bird flying through the sky, we are seeing a living connection to that ancient world. Birds are the surviving branch of the dinosaur family tree. Their existence tells us that the dinosaurs never completely vanished. Their descendants are still here, millions of years later, moving through forests, cities, mountains, and skies. And that may be the most incredible part of the story. The asteroid that destroyed the dinosaurs did not destroy life on Earth. Instead, it transformed life. It ended one enormous chapter and opened another. It changed the climate, reshaped ecosystems, redirected evolution, and created opportunities for new species to rise. 66 million years ago, an asteroid crossed the sky and changed the future of our planet forever. The dinosaurs' world ended, but from the darkness, a new world began. And eventually, that new world would lead to us. If you want to understand how history is unfolding before our eyes, don't miss what comes next. Revisit Xfinity Evolution for deeper insights and powerful stories. Stay informed, stay curious, and join us again on Xfinity Evolution, where the world's biggest events come into focus.